Barry Charles Footy Show exclusive. Effective immediately, Parramatta are about to sign the man himself, Lachlan Galvin. Yes, Parramatta have been in informal talks with Lachlan Galvin, and as you've seen, Jason Rowell said he'd love to have him. Well, folks, this is about to happen. Over $1 million contract is about to be tabled. They just need the early release from the Tigers. So what has to happen for this to actually occur? So this is what ideally Parramatta are wanting right here, right now, to release Dylan Brown, to go straight to the Knights. But the Tigers, there's an issue there with the Tigers. Do they want a Knights player? Do they want a Parramatta player? Do they want someone else? That is the stumbling point there. We'll also talk about in this episode the bully claims from Lachlan Galvin. We'll look at Adam O'Brien. Is he going to be the first coach sacked this year? Up the Wars, getting it done. Them and the Raiders, are they premiership threats? And Reece Walsh looks like he's out of Origin. Who should take his place? Well, let's get into it right here, right now, at your favourite rugby league channel, Barry Charles Footy Show. Remember to like and subscribe if you liked the video. Let's get to it. Yes, bombshell news. Parramatta look like very shortly will be signing Lachlan Galvin. He's 101 to go to in the betting to be signed up very shortly within the next few weeks. Parramatta have an offer on the table. As I said before, it's just a matter of will they be able to release Dylan Brown to the Knights, and will the Knights be able to release somebody? That is the key. Who can the Knights let go of? So Pearce Paul has been one that's been talked about. They let go of Will Price, so there's a little bit of money there. But they're going to have to let go of someone. Jackson Hastings, for some reason they've kept him. I don't know why they've kept him. It just doesn't make sense. Does that mean no one in Super League wants him? That doesn't make sense either, because he wasn't very good in the Super League. So he seems like the easiest one to just let Jackson Hastings go. He won't go to the Tigers, surely. But who? Yeah, that's the... But who do the Tigers want? That's the $1 million question, folks, out there. At the end of the day, Tigers have to let Galvin be released for a start, but they won't do that unless they get more than likely a player they want. So who do they want? If you look at the Knights, do they want Pearce Paul? No. Potentially maybe Tyson Frizzell, but he's a bit over the hill, and they already let go of Clemmer, so they'll be just sort of swapping a similar sort of player there, so I don't think that would be ideal. The only player that makes sense is Bradman Best. For a Tigers perspective, they need a strike centre. They've lost the centre. They haven't got any good centres, let's just be honest, in the team right now. He would be the key target if they could get him. But the Knights are letting him go, so I don't see that as being a viable option. If we go to Parramatta, probably top of their list would be Iongi, but that ain't happening. So you're looking at players like Ryan Madison, Sean Lane, Bryce Cartwright, those types of players, which are not bad replacements, but do they really need those players in the squad right now? I think they could do another prop, probably ideally to go with Terrell May. That's probably what they need, another good, decent prop. Have a two-pronged tank there. That's why letting Clemmer go didn't make too much sense to me. They need another decent prop, in my opinion, would be, or obviously a centre. So Will Penasini comes up. Would he want to go there? That's a question I just talk about him wanting to go to rugby, all this stuff. So him and Bradman Best would be the top of their list for mine. Or unless they can get a Selwyn Cobbo or Contoni Staggs. Or even can they go back to the future and Addo Carr? I mean, I know Addo Carr's just signed, but if they want Lachlan Galvin, maybe that's an opportunity there. So you got Taruva and Addo Carr, the wingers. They might put Skelton into the centres or something. Just to make that happen. So that's where we're at right here, right now. So there's a little bit of movement going to happen for this to happen. So first of all, immediate release. I mean, or allowed to talk to other clubs, probably the first thing before effective immediate release. So they'll let. That's the big talking point, and it's probably going to happen after today's game. Do you want to talk to other clubs? Which is going to be yes, so they'll probably go through that. Which they already have talked to clubs, don't get it wrong. They'll just get a formal offer from Parramatta, and other clubs. So the Dragons could come up with the biggest offer, 1.2 mil, I believe, 1.3 maybe. The Dragons will go that high. So if it's going to be just straight money, he'll go there. Parramatta, I think it's a love of the team that potentially get him over the line there. But there's a whole host of other good clubs. So Bulldogs make sense. If his word is his word, he wants to go to a good coach. So you either go to him, you go. This is why you can't say Serrato's proven yet. But in terms of the teams, the way they're playing, you would go the Bulldogs, Trent Robertson, the Roosters, or Craig Bellamy, or Wayne Bennett at the Rabbits. So he's got options here coaching wise, but I'm sure it's money. I'm stunned if it's not. I think there's just talks that he wanted to go back to Parramatta, and I think that's why it's all Parramatta. But it doesn't mean something else doesn't happen in the meantime for it not to happen. But a worst case scenario, it will be by the end of the year. Galvin will not be playing in 2026. I can tell you that right here, right now. There have to be some sort of turnaround. The Tigers are in the top 4 or something ridiculous, and he has a change of heart. But I think that's going to be done, set in stone before we get to that sort of time. But I expect it will be in the next 2 weeks that this is all said and done. So the ball is firstly in the Tigers' court. They got to allow him to talk to teams officially, and then all the things will come into place. Parramatta will offer them about 1.1 million. That's what I've heard. Dragons about 1.3, and all the other clubs are looking at about the 900k mark, and that's including Penrith as well. Don't forget about Penrith as well. It's a smoky, but again, if it's about less money, then he will go to a team like the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs can potentially probably pay him $1 million, but the other teams, he's going to have to take less money. Will he take the less money? We will find out. But raging hot favourites right here, right now, is Parramatta. Let's get to it. Yes, what's next? The bullying saga. So if they don't sort out this effective immediate release, which I think they're going to, this could drag out for a while and go into court. If this all happens, then Tiger season could be derailed because of it, and I don't think they'll allow that to happen. Do I think there was bullying? I think so. The social media post, absolutely. Especially Taruva's one, that was just absolute. It was funny, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, it's not funny for the player itself, and it's in this day and age, you probably just can't do it. With all the social media rubbish, so there's going to be a lot of apologising, a lot of things are going to have to happen to get this out of the woodwork, but it's going to be an interesting sign. And will the Tigers allow him to play again this season? I think it's debatable, to be honest. I really think they want to get this over and done with, and I think you will see a signing within the next couple of weeks. If they let it drag out, it could really derail this season. So it's going to be an interesting move around all that stuff going forward, but I think this is going to be done swiftly and be out of the media scope lights. But yes, let's go to some other footy news here. Up the Wars. Yes, the Wars get it done again. And I didn't put the hoodoo on them. They actually won, but they nearly lost it. Luke Metcalf had a shocker in the goal kicking stakes. I can understand them missing 2, but their last one, when it hit the post, I don't understand why he didn't kick it aiming for the left post and it goes down the middle. I don't know why he went that way. He kept kicking it right, so you just aim it to the left and let it curl in. It's simple. But hey, I'm not a footy player, but that makes sense. That's what you got to do. Leka Halasima, how good. Now, I want to have a bit of a rant, not a rant, but it was great to see a Warriors player being talked about on Fox Sports. But to say Leka Halasima was absolutely outstanding first half, when you look at the stats, it wasn't even that great of stats. He scored a try, a couple of line breaks, yes, but to absolutely say he was boom, you look at Payne Huss stats, totally different and way more. So I think maybe getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. He's a great player, don't get me wrong, and he'll be starting for a long time to come. But maybe just hold on about how good he is. He needs to put the output out week in, week out. So just a little bit of a talk there. But Jackson Ford is another story. He used to play Jackson Ford for the Warriors. Why does he get picked? Okay, it's not a talent thing. That's not the issue. But every single week he drops the ball, and often in his own half, puts a pressure on the Warriors defence, and they often score from it. And no one talks about it, so I'm talking about it. Jackson Ford should get dropped. Will they do it? No, they won't. But it could derail this season in a big game. You come to a semi-final, preliminary final. You drop the ball against a Melbourne Storm type team, you are going to get punished. Penrith, you're going to get punished. So there's pressure there. And I don't think the Warriors need it. And I think they've got enough talent around to not have Ford in the team. But that's my own opinion. But yes, the good thing for the Warriors is they're winning without their key players. And they had no Fisher Harris, no DWZ, no Charles Nickel-Clockstead, no Roger, and they keep getting it done. It's very exciting for Warriors fans that they're getting the wins without these players in the team. That's why I'm labelling them a certainly top 8 team. They are going to be a top 8 team in 2025. But can they get to top 4? Well, we're going to have to see them turn up away. That is going to be the question mark. They did not turn up away against Melbourne Storm. If they play like that again, then question marks will continue. But if that was just a blip, but they've had 2 games. They had the Raiders and the Storm, so it's not necessarily a blip. It is a thing when they're playing away that they're not necessarily up to shape. So that's some work to do for the Warriors there going forward. But should get excited, fans, about the Warriors. But obviously the question mark for the Warriors is that after Origin period, they last about 8 rounds of the season, is where they've absolutely folded up 90% of the time. They did it last year. I think they barely won a game. They need to turn that around. Obviously, if they don't turn that around, they won't make finals football. But I'm sure the Warriors will be there in 2025. Now, Reece Walsh looks likely to be out of Origin. If he does make it, would Billy Slater pick it without having a game? I don't think so. When you've got someone as good as Kalen Ponga in the back line, I mean, if he's fully playing, you'd pick Ponga. And there's no doubt about it. Ponga will get picked in front of Walsh on this occasion, regardless. Do I think he was going to get picked before? I don't know, because I think Reece Walsh is one of Billy's favourites. So there's probably, you would say, no on that one. But I think the bigger question for Queensland fans here is, do they drop DCE and put Munster and Dearden in? That's the question mark. Obviously, there's no Sam Walker, so they can't put Sam Walker there. But another question I had about the game. Reece Walsh had an injured knee. Why is he kicking from the kickoff after 80 minutes? It just was ridiculous that he was even kicking the ball, regardless of even continuing to play the game. It was just absolute madness. And Madge Maguire's under pressure now, even though they have won 4 games already. But the couple of the games they've lost, they've been a little bit disappointing. And Ben Hunt had a shocker, didn't he? Absolute shocker. The Raiders, yes, the Raiders fans are celebrating as they're in the top 4. They are playing some good football. They smashed the Warriors. Big chance. Do I think they really are proving everyone wrong yet again? I honestly didn't think they could make the top 8. I thought it'd be close to wooden spooners. But not the case. The Raiders continue to prove everyone wrong again. Adam O'Brien. Will he be the first coach sacked? Well, we've labelled it here before. We can see him getting sacked. I had Ricky Stewart as, I think, the one to get sacked when that ain't happening. Adam O'Brien continues to be in conversation. After a great start to the season, it's absolutely gone pear-shaped. And when the pressure goes on, he swaps their halves like their lolly paper. It's just unbelievable how he just swaps the halves, just gives up on them very quickly. And that's why there's destabilization in this team. But it will be interesting to see how it was. But anyway, that is the Barry Charles Footy Show for this episode. Lachlan Galvin, this saga will continue until something is settled, and I expect it to be settled soon. And he should be in the blue and gold within the next fortnight. We'll see if it comes to fruition, because anything can happen last minute in rugby league. There could be a big offer from one of these other big clubs, like the Bulldogs or the Rabbitohs or the Roosters come into play. Then it's a different story, Penrith even. But we will see. Have a great day out there, and I'll be back with another video shortly for you.